Hi guys, welcome to my exam with Sam. I'm Sam, and in this video you are going to learn about 5 activities you can do for free using the TED Talks website to improve your IELTS speaking band score. You're going to learn about an activity you can use to improve your ideas and your vocabulary so that you always have something to say and the words and phrases you need to say it. You're also going to improve your pronunciation. In fact, there's 2 activities in this video to help you make your pronunciation more like a native speaker. There's also an activity to help you with your fluency and coherence, which means that you'll be able to speak more fluently and your ideas will be clearer. And of course, you're going to use one activity from this video to learn more about the grammar that native speakers use when they speak. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can follow the activities in this video. I'll give you all the descriptions that you need, and the links are in the description on YouTube. If you're watching on the My Exam with Sam free course, then all of the resources are together for you and you can download them all to keep. If you want to sign up for the free course, then you can just go to the My Exam with Sam website. The link is in the description, and you can sign up completely for free to have all of the videos, all of the resources together and ready for you to download. But for now, let's just get started with these 5 activities to improve your IELTS speaking. The objective of this activity is to listen to a TED Talk and to write down exactly what you hear. This is important because listening is really the foundation of good pronunciation. You can't pronounce the sounds of English if you can't hear the sounds of English. So training your listening will train your pronunciation. This activity will also make you more aware of unfamiliar vocabulary, so you can get good pronunciation from accurate listening and some new vocab. Let's have a look at what you need to do. First, select a TED Talk. Try to pick a topic that could come up on the IELTS exam, and try to find a name that looks like a native speaker. Second, listen to the talk one time
Epiphany. I realized that.
And try and understand what is the most interesting idea for you in this talk. Then go back to the start of the talk and listen again. This time, pause the video and write down what you hear.
I recently had an epiphany. I realized that I could actually play a role.
Continue listening, pausing, and writing until you have quite a lot of the talk transcribed. When you finish, it's time to give yourself some feedback. Compare what you wrote with the transcript on the TED Talks page. What's the same? And what's different? What could help you get everything right next time? I think I need a little bit of help with my grammar. If you want to make this activity more difficult because you need more of a challenge, then wait 5 seconds before you write anything. This means that you have to hold the words and phrases in your memory. If you want this activity to be a little bit easier for you, then slow the video down. Let's have a look at another activity that you can use to help make your pronunciation more like a native speaker's. The objective of this activity is for you to imitate, to copy the sentence stress, the intonation, and the pronunciation of individual words as closely as you can. This will help you understand the differences between intonation, sentence stress, and the pronunciation of individual sounds in your language and in English as used by native speakers. It will also show you the connection between emotions on one hand and pronunciation on the other hand. Let's have a look at what you need to do in this activity. First, select a TED Talk by a native speaker. It's important that this one is by a native speaker because you're going to be copying the pronunciation. Then, listen once to the TED Talk. What kind of emotions or emphasis do you think the speaker wants to create in each phrase?
In the South Wales Valleys, which is this quite special place, it's always had this very sort of rich working class culture.
This quite special place. She's quite happy here. She's quite a little bit of wonder, maybe. She really likes this place. That's the emotion that I get from her. Then press record on your recording device and listen again to a short phrase from the TED Talk. The transcript can really help you here because you can just click on the phrase and it will play it for you. After you listen, repeat the phrase, recording what you say.
It's had this very sort of rich working class culture.
To always have this sort of rich working class culture. Repeat this several times with different phrases so that you have a short part of the recording that you've copied. Then give yourself some feedback. Listen to your recording and compare what you say with what the speaker in the video says. What's the same and what's different? So this is me. To always have this sort of rich working class culture. And this is her.
It's had this very sort of rich working class culture. And it's famous for its Welsh.
I think she is a little bit faster than me. And there's less of a pause between working class and culture. That's what's different there. Answer the question, what do you need to do to get closer to the native speaker? So I need to go a little bit faster at the end of this phrase. If you need more of a challenge, try to repeat a longer section of the TED Talk. And if you need to make this activity a little bit easier, then practice the phrases a few times with the native speaker in the video before you record your own version. Let's have a look at the next activity. This one is for your grammar. The objective of this activity is to help raise your awareness of the types of grammatical structures that native speakers use when they speak English. This will help you in the exam because to get a good grammar score for your speaking, you need to have a wide range of grammatical structures and good accuracy. In other words, you need to be able to use lots of different types of grammar, and you need to be able to use them without making too many mistakes. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you do need good accuracy. This activity will show you the range of grammatical structures that native speakers use, and will also make you more aware of which grammatical structures you need to practice with before you do your speaking exam. Let's have a look at what you need to do for this activity. First, select a TED Talk and listen to the TED Talk one time. Focus on understanding the ideas. What's the main message? Then, listen again.
Is the simple swap of one letter or base, such as C.
Are there any grammar points that you can identify? Anything from the grammar that really jumps out at you?
With a different letter, such as T, G, or A. In any day, the cells in your body will collectively accumulate billions of these single letters.
Collectively accumulate. That's a cool collocation with an adverb and a verb. Then get a list of high-level grammar points. You can find the link on the PDF or in the description on YouTube. And this website will show you a list of grammar points for band 7 and above. They're all in these files from an Oxford University Press book. Then use the transcript of the talk or listen to the talk again with the video. Can you find any of the grammar points from the files in the talk? Here, for example, I have an if statement with the second conditional. If that mutation were inherited, the result would be. When you give yourself feedback in this activity, you want to ask, how familiar are you with these grammar points? Are they easy for you to use? And can you use them accurately when you speak? If you need more challenge and you want to make this activity more difficult, then you can combine this activity with the final activity in this video, which is the summarizing activity for your vocab. If you want to make it a little bit easier, then you can always use a different grammar list. There's a link in the description and in the PDF document on the free course to take you to a slightly easier list that's about a band 6.5. Let's have a look at the activity you can use to improve your fluency and coherence. The objective of this activity is for you to use the same language to signpost the beginning, middle, and end of your answers. This means that you tell your listener, hey, this is the beginning, ooh, these things are interesting in the middle, and this is my conclusion. This is really important in parts 2 and 3 of the IELTS speaking exam when you're giving longer answers and you need to be really clear about what's the beginning, what's the middle, and what's the end. This helps your listener understand and it helps you make your ideas really clear, which is really important for your fluency and coherence band score. So let's have a look at what you need to do for this activity. First, select a TED Talk. Listen to the TED Talk once and focus on the ideas. Don't think about time, but think about the ideas in the TED Talk. What's in the introduction? What's in the middle of the talk? The ideas that support the main idea. And what's in the conclusion of the talk? Then listen again and try and find the phrases that they use to introduce the ideas. In this example, the lady begins her talk by saying, I recently had an epiphany.
I recently had an epiphany.
And this is a great phrase to start her introduction. Then take an IELTS Part 3 speaking task. IELTS Liz is a good place to find these. If you can find a topic that's similar to the video you were watching, then that's perfect, but don't worry if you can't. Get ready to record and choose a question. When you give your answer to the question, try and use some of the signposting language that you saw in the answer to your question. How can people protect the environment? Well, I recently had an epiphany that people don't actually need to do very much to protect the environment. You just need to make small changes to your lifestyle, etc., etc., etc. When you give yourself feedback, listen to your recording. Do you use the phrases that you found in the TED Talk? Do you have much hesitation? And do you use the phrases at the appropriate time? How can people protect the environment? Well, I recently had an epiphany that people don't actually need to do very much to protect the environment. Okay, I have my phrase, there was no hesitation. I used it at the appropriate time for the introduction. And this phrase is about an epiphany. It has a certain meaning. And I feel like maybe what I was saying was not really an epiphany, but it was close enough. If you want to make this activity a little bit more difficult for yourself, then I suggest that you try it again 2 or 3 days later. So try it once and then wait 2 or 3 days and try it again. This means you'll be practicing from memory and that will make it a little bit harder for you. Of course, if you want to make it easier, there's a technique for that too. To make this activity a little bit easier, I suggest you make a very quick plan. using some of the signposting language and 1 or 2 ideas after each piece of signposting language. When you give your talk, try not to read, but try to just use the signposting language to give you an idea of what to say. Okay, let's have a look at the final activity, the big one to help with your vocabulary and ideas. The objective of this activity is to listen to a TED Talk and then to give a short spoken summary of the TED Talk. This is really great because it will help you remember interesting ideas about topics that could come up in the IELTS exam. And more importantly, it will give you the vocabulary that you need to express those ideas. Basically, you'll always have something to say in the exam and the words and phrases that you need in order to explain what you think. Let's have a look at what you need to do for this activity. First, select a TED Talk from the TED Talks website and listen once. What's the most important idea that you're going to explain in your summary? Plants can save the world, but we need to change their genes first. Then listen again, and this time focus on the ideas that you need to explain for your main idea to make sense. So she says that plants store a lot of carbon, but also a lot of things that break down and release carbon when the plants die. So we need to change them, basically. Next, press record on your recording device and give a short summary of the TED Talk using some of the ideas and vocabulary that you found in the TED Talk. So in this TED Talk, the scientist explains that plants can save the world from global warming by absorbing carbon dioxide, but in order for this to be more effective, we need to change the genes of the plants. She explains that this is because plants can store a lot of carbon, but also they store lots of things that break down and release the carbon dioxide when the plant dies. So if we can change the genes of the plant, then we can actually make them store less things that break down and more carbon dioxide. When you give yourself some feedback, listen to your recording. So in this TED Talk, the scientist... Do you have all the vocabulary that you need to explain the ideas from the TED Talk? Do you hesitate when you need to use the vocabulary? And what words or phrases could help you explain the key ideas better? And of course, is your pronunciation of your new vocabulary the same or different to the speaker in the video? This explains that plants can save the world from global warming by... Okay, I have a lot of the vocabulary that she uses and I don't hesitate. Perhaps I could use some more technical vocabulary. So instead of save the world from global warming, I could say protect the planet from global warming. Is my pronunciation the same or different? It's a little bit different. She's American and has a different accent to me. If you want to make this activity a little bit more difficult for yourself, then try to explain more of the ideas from the TED Talk. Try and get as close as you can to recreating all of the talk. And of course, if you need to work a little bit slower and reduce the difficulty, then I suggest you make a list of the key vocabulary, perhaps even using the transcript from the talk. Take some time, maybe 1 or 2 days, to practice this vocabulary and then give your spoken summary. Okay guys, that's all 5 of the key activities that can help you improve your IELTS speaking band score using TED Talks. Now it's up to you to do the work. Remember, you can sign up to the My Exam with Sam free course. The link is in the description, and you'll have all of this video with all of the resources that you've seen together in one place to help you study. All right, guys, I'll see you very soon in the free course. Bye.